It's really difficult to balance everything, but at the same time, it changed everything. So when I started and I was still a school teacher, I've never really been good at behavior management in class. And so I used to come back home every evening crying and thinking, why the hell am I doing this job? Like, just
Hmm.
why? Like, why I'm not going to retailing or something. And it just changed everything. Like now I am my own boss. I teach whatever I want. I teach to kids that actually want to be here. Maybe all this time, what I needed to be in the right mindset to do whatever I need to do now.
Fill everybody in, Florian, as you came into the teacher project the first time. What was happening then? What were you experiencing as you kind of were interacting with the coaching team and working through that at that point? Because honestly, that was just in the very beginning when most of it was just Elliot, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was. Elliot was doing most of the coaching calls. It was a lot different. Like there was a lot less than what it is now. It's really structured now, and back then it was. And yeah, we were a group of 20-ish people, I think 22 or something like this.
Mhm.
And there were different teams, like groups that formed very, very quickly. There were the people that were action takers, and there were the others that didn't really know where to dance. And I was a bit in that group. And I remember seeing all the action takers and they had like results straight away and then, getting money and money and income. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just not me. And I think looking back on it, what I was expecting at the time, I was expecting a miracle solution.
Mhm.
I jumped in thinking, I'm going to follow this course like 3 hours a week, apply some things every now and then, and become a millionaire. And it took me some mindset change to actually realize that it's not like building your business is not a miracle magic wand and it takes work. But once you realize this, that actually it starts working when you realize that it's not magical.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense. It starts working when you work it,
Yeah,
right? Because I think a
yeah,
lot of people
totally.
think, oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and invest in a program that's going to teach me the skills of marketing, sales, how to run these classes, which is great. Like you can have access to all of these things, but then you have to implement it, right? It
Yeah,
takes a time
100%.
investment. And again, are we instantly masters at these things as soon as we start? No, we have
No.
to do those trials to learn and to grind it out and to fail and to get back up and to try again. And, to everybody watching this, I want you guys to realize that, while starting a business, it is not an easy thing, but it is worth it. At the end of the day, when you think about the autonomy and the freedom that it can provide, and I know, Florian, like to look at your situation, you're a mom. That was something you were looking to go ahead and say, hey, I want something different for my life and for
Yeah,
my
100%.
child and that sort of thing. Is that something that was going through your head?
Yes, so it's suddenly have no income, a very small income, and have a kid and everything, and I went through a lot of personal stuff as well throughout the years, and it's really difficult to balance everything. But at the same time, it changed everything. So when I started and I was still a school teacher, I've never really been good at behavior management in class, and so I used to come back home every evening crying and thinking, why the hell am I doing this job? Like just
Hmm.
why? Like why I'm not going to retailing or something. And it just changed everything. Like now I am my own boss. I teach whatever I want. I teach to kids that actually want to be here. That makes like the difference
Yeah.
is just day and night. Yeah.
I love that you said that. And, there's a lot of students that are there because they're forced to be there, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of behavior issues. And there's nothing, I would say, more painful, right, than having to like try to teach someone who doesn't want to learn. And as Florian was saying, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be able to start my own thing. I'm going to be able to be the gatekeeper to only bring people in that I know are committed, that really want to learn. They don't have to be experts by any means, but I can go ahead and teach them if they want to learn. I think the key word here is willingness. Is that what you've kind of found with folks coming into your program is just like a willingness to want to learn and just craving that
Yeah,
change?
yeah, 100%. The fact that they want to be here changes everything in their learning. The results are higher,
Mhm.
their engagement, they're happy to be here. I'm happy to be teaching them, so even my teaching changes. It's just completely different, and you don't have all the, head teacher and all the management team behind.
Yeah,
You're the one creating your curriculum, you're the one doing things the way you want. And that's how I started to realize that I was actually a good teacher, if I
that's
had
awesome.
freedom to teach.
Yeah, like being that leader and having that creative control is really, really important, right? When we think
Yeah,
about, wow, what makes us feel just fulfilled? It's that autonomy to be able to create and to build and to teach the way we know down in like our heart of hearts that like this is the best way for a student to learn. It's not somebody dictating a standard, but like I'm running the show, which is really, really important. I see a bunch of people kind of popping in now. Jean-Paul says, I'm not in the classroom right now, but I can relate to what Florian is saying. Yeah, Jean-Paul, like just being able to, not feel that weight on top of your, like
mm,
Florian was saying, God, I just felt like I was coming home crying. Yeah, I think honestly, when we look at teachers, most teachers are a little bit nervous sometimes to like put themselves out there in terms of marketing, getting their voice out there or running sales, right? Because they're like, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a teacher, right? Or I've never run group programs before. How am I going to do this online? Guys, I want you to know that you have so many skills built inside you as teachers. We're masters at being able to like craft messages. We're masters at being able to connect with people, sales, and understand them. We're masters at being able to teach a group. Yeah, maybe we've never done it online, or maybe we've just been doing one-on-one, but these are all things that you guys have foundational skills to take into this entrepreneurial arena of running your own thing and being able to say, I can take all of these advantages I have, learn some new skills, and do something completely different, which is great. But it's all tied into your passion of teaching at the same
yeah.
time, which is great. Yeah, it sounds like what you said earlier, Florian, is resonating.
Mhm.
Anything else coming up for you as we've been kind of talking through this?
And yes, I think it's funny that you said that teaching can actually lead to other skill set in the business, because when I started, I used to think, well, I'm not going to be good at this because I can't sell anything. I can't, I'm not very good at marketing, or how am I supposed to actually get on camera and talk about my project? I'm not confident about my course. Like even teaching, selling for me, selling something like a salesman was a fraud. Literally, that was the
Mm,
equivalent in my head. And it took me
yeah,
so much work to actually realize that selling something you're confident that is going to help people is not trying to steal money from them, is actually showing them a way to have to help their problem. But for real, like it's like being a leader. And that's what being a teacher is all about. Like you just being a leader in a classroom, and just setting is being a leader with a parent, just showing them that you know exactly how you're going to help that child. That
yeah.
makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's interesting. I had, my own fears as well, just like you said, Florian, like, I don't know how to do this marketing stuff and I don't know how to sell something. I'm curious, guys, to the folks that are on here live, like, what holds you guys back? What makes you guys nervous about maybe starting your own thing? Is it working online? Is it working through sales calls? Is it getting yourself out there, on a video ad or what is it? Like, let us know in the comments and in the chat. We'd love to talk with you guys about this because I think, if we get to the heart of our fears and our worries, which I know is a big part of your story as well, when you came back into the teacher project, Florian, what was that experience like? How was it different now here coming through again? And what were some mental mindset shifts or mental, I would say, barriers that maybe you were still working on, at that point when you first came in?
When I first came in, I was battling self-confidence.
Hmm.
For me, I wasn't enough to teach online. I had no testimonial because I wasn't like a good teacher enough. I couldn't teach online. And I mean, when Elliot started to say group teaching, and I was like, well, this guy clearly never taught languages because you can't teach languages in a group. And I was convinced of my own ways. And it took just to open a little bit, my vision to see that everything is possible. So yeah, it was working on my mindset as, as my identity as a business person.
Yeah.
So not just a teacher in my business, but like the person on top of the business, if that makes sense. So that's the mindset shift that I had to go through between the first time I joined and then and then quit and then come back on. It was 2023 September, I think, when I came.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just looking here because there's, the mindset shifts that lock us up, right? The
Yes.
lies that we believe that hold us there. James just dropped in marketing and finding prospective clients and students. Yeah, James, like that is a fear, right? Whether or not we live with that and we say, "Oh, there's just no way I could find students." No, that's a complete lie, right? The reason that the Teacher Project is so amazing, we have so many folks in here inside this community, and you know what? The world is a blue ocean. There are so many students out there that need our help. They just have to know about us. They just have to hear about us. And that's what we teach you guys inside of our accelerator program is exactly that, James. How do we get super clear on your offer? We call it your signature tutoring offer. Then we move forward into marketing and say, how do we take this offer and put it out into the world via Facebook ads or organic marketing so that people can see you and start seeing you on a regular basis, right? Not just once, but over and over and over again on their phone that's in front of their face 24/7. And then we teach you guys about sales as well, right?
Yeah.
How do we do lead follow up? How do we get people booked in for calls? How do we understand them? Help them see their problems and then provide our solution, our program, their vehicle to get them from point A to point B. And then that last part is like, well, how do I run these classes? Like Florian was saying, you can't teach foreign language in a group.
You
Guess what?
can.
We all came in super narrow-minded. It has to be one-on-one. I still remember when I did one-on-one at other people's houses. And I thought there's no way that they'll ever drive to a library to work with me, but they did. And then I said, there's
Yeah.
no way they'll ever work with me one-on-one online, but then they did. And I said, there's no way that they're going to be able to work with me in a group, but we did. And we kept seeing that we broke down barriers and we said, hey, anything is possible. And that's what we've been teaching here. And it's amazing to see the results of that. So Leslie says, for me, it's stepping out online. Advertising is a growth need. I've been working on my own for a while, but a word of mouth biz. Yeah, anything to add to what I said to James, just to kind of help Leslie out there,
Mhm.
Florian?
Yes, because I mean, working on your own is a thing, but as soon as you're going to grow your team, you're not going to be on your own anymore, and that's a really cool part. But about the skills, about advertising and stepping out online and all this, they're all barriers that you're setting yourself. Like you're seeing them as something as a roadblock, and that's something I used to do as well. Like the one thing that is going to stop you is if you visualize your like all of this that you're saying as a tree in the middle of the road. Like this, you can't go any further. But as soon as you start seeing them as challenges and games that you want to play, then it all becomes, I won't say easy because it's not easy, but it becomes interesting. And what's interesting gets done. So if I'm seeing selling as something I can never do, I'm not going to do it. But if I see selling as, oh, that's my next challenge, let's see how far I can go to it. Well, I'm just going to do it because I like challenges
Yeah.
and I like winning challenges.
Absolutely. Guys, if we look at the areas of friction in our mind or even as we start building our business, not as problems but as opportunities, it's
Mhm.
amazing to see what can happen, right? Because without that barrier or that friction, guess what? We'll never grow. And in order to do that, right? To be healthy is to grow, and to grow is to change. I always remind myself of that, and we have to go ahead and be able to step out on faith sometimes to be able to have access to the materials and the knowledge and the wisdom and the communities that are going to ultimately change the way we see the world and how we interact. So I just love that you guys are being open enough to like let us know your
Mhm.
fears and your worries and your doubts right now, because that's the first thing, right? That we have to overcome is the mindset blocks. Because guess what? You guys are worried about marketing. You guys are worried about sales. You guys are worried about how to run the group programs. Those are issues that can be solved, but the first thing we have to do is address the mindset issues.
Yep.
And I know that that's exactly, why I was so excited to have Florian on here was because she battled through a lot of this. And, just take us through just a few more parts of like the mindset challenges because You came back in the second time in 2023 and trying to go ahead and figure out, hey, how do I get this sales things going? Was something that you were walking through that challenge. What was kind of maybe one major mindset shift around the sales front that really helped you kind of unlock, that first 5K month that you had recently?
For me, it was resilience and showing up every day. That's something I did not used to do. I used to think that if I do it every now and then, it's going to work. And, I'm not talking for everybody, but I know for me, this little mind in a corner of my mind thinking, oh, well, something's going to happen. It's going to work. Like someone's going to come and save me. And that's not going to happen. Like if you want something, you need to get out there and take it. And I'm not saying this as a shark thing. Like you can actually get out there and sell your stuff and get everything you want while teaching something good for the world. Like it's amazing. Like you can actually do something good for you and good for the world at the same time. You don't have to choose between being a salesperson and and being a good person. You actually can
Yeah.
do both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think just understanding that, guys, that the belief that you have in your program and the
Mhm.
belief in how you can operate it, yeah, you might not know all the details, but you guys are all teachers. At the end of the day, you guys know how to instruct. You guys know how to get people from point A to point B. And just working through some of these little pieces of the puzzle, the marketing, the sales, they're all things that we walk through as well. And so I'm seeing a lot of folks chiming in the chat, guys. I'm just going to drop a link in here as well. If you guys are in a similar position, the stuff that Florian's been talking about, I've been talking about is resonating, and you're like, you know what? I want to like learn a little bit more. I want to see if there's an option to kind of get my foot in the door, to start learning, to start building. I saw Leonard was saying, hey, he's just starting. So I'd appreciate like experience first ads, calls, closing customers, never done Facebook style marketing before. Yeah, we're all there, Leonard. And
Yep.
like I said, our team that interacts with clients kind of that are first coming in, we have different programs that are available, right? Our accelerator program is, I would say, the pay to play option, right, of our program because it provides you with the amazing curriculum, with the amazing community, with the amazing coaches to go ahead and walk through the program step by step by step. But we also, if finances are tight, guys, for any reason, and you're like, I just, I only got like $100 here. Like I just need to get my foot in the door. I need to do that. Guys, we have options for that as well because we know that everybody starts in different spots, right? You might be right in the classroom, never run a tutoring business before, ever worked with a student. There's a place that you guys can jump in, at lower levels and start getting some experience and start getting that snowball to roll down the hill and start picking up steam. And when you're ready, come into our
Mhm.
main programs, work with our coaching team, be in the programs that Florian and our other clients are in as well. But just to learn about that, guys, really, it's super easy. Just click that link. You guys can book in just a super simple 15-minute conversation with one of our team members. They'd love to go ahead and sit down with you just to understand your situation and see if one of our options could be a good fit. So we're here to help all teachers. That is our mission. Like I said, we want you guys to go ahead and find that freedom that hasn't been available to you guys, maybe in the school system. But if we go ahead and choose our hard, what we want to do, we can open up a lot of different doors, which is really, really cool. So I love it. I love it. So, yeah, Florian, just to get back to the conversation here as well, I know that, while you were working on getting the sales up and running, another thing
Mhm.
that was maybe a little bit of a challenge that you walked through was this whole idea of, okay, well, if I start a business, I'm on my own. Like I'm spinning all the plates and it can be a lonely thing in the beginning, right? Because you're doing all the different things. That's why being in a program with community is so powerful because it helps you to get out of your own head. But what were you experience like before your team? And what have you learned since, hiring a few people onto your team? I think your journey is just really, really unique.
So when I was on my own, I was on my own, literally. And yeah, I felt lost like all the days, like the days were going by. And I think every now and then I was actually regretting being in school because I would remember my colleagues and stuff. But the community, the teacher project really helped. And I remember that day in the mindset call, kind of like we were both in, and I was telling you about how I went to do grocery shopping. I think it was just at the beginning, actually, when I started back in
Hmm.
2023. And I went grocery shopping with my toddler. She was 2 at the time. and my card blocked and I couldn't pay for groceries. It was
Mm.
very embarrassing. And I remember everyone behind me at the till just, starting to be very impatient. You know how French people can be, like, just get her out. Like, she doesn't have enough money, just get her out the shop. And I could hear all this, and I remember my
Yeah.
eyes were teary, and I remember this mindset call when I was telling you all this, and the love from everybody just supporting me throughout this. And I think the community really helped. But then when the call ended, I was on my own. And then I had the live event in London where you guys actually explain how to hire, how to do it well, and my only thing from that point was to hire. Like, from that event, I was like, okay, I'm going to hire. I don't have enough money. I'm going to hire anyway. And yeah, I worked for it, and I hired my first colleague in January of this year. She's
Hmm.
amazing. She's a client success manager with a background in marketing. So she has plenty of ideas. She's amazing. She's taking care of all the clients from onboarding to retention. She's really a great friend. She actually became a friend. With time, I actually hired a video editor who's really good. He helps me with my ads and stuff. And I'm in the process of hiring a teacher now as well. It's all very exciting. It's like, yeah, having a team of people is more vibrating. Like, I'm not vibrating on my own.
Yeah.
I'm vibrating with a group of people. I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's just waking up in the morning knowing that if you have a problem in your work, you have someone to talk to about, and they know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and it changes everything.
I love that. I love your analogy of, hey, I vibrated on my own, but now I got multiple people vibrating at the same frequency, and the
Yeah.
intensity and the passion that you guys are all pointed in the same direction, rowing in the same direction, chasing after the same thing, and helping that group of students is amazing. And, whenever I look at those situations, like I heard you say, hey, I was in the program, then I stepped out, but I probably learned something, right? Something settled into me. And then I came back in, and then I joined one of the live events, right, guys? If you guys don't know, we run live events every single year, and it's a great place to take these online relationships and move them into the in-person space. It just helps us bond and grow and learn even faster. And you probably learned a ton there, right, in regards to the hiring and chatting with the different coaches and all of that. What has changed now that you got folks that are on your team? Like, what does that look like now in regards to you and family life and being able to, back down a little bit, in regards to like trying to spin all the plates?
Hmm.
How has things changed, on that front?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the opportunity to step out if I need it.
Mm.
So, for example, today my toddler, or she's not really at school now, but she was ill. I had to take her to the doctor, and I actually had someone I could call to back me up while I was not here,
Yeah.
which never happened before, and that's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's like being able to have the life work balance that not only I wouldn't have if I was on my own, but I certainly wouldn't have if I was in school, like
Hmm.
in classrooms.
Yeah, just that ability to go ahead and change your schedule a little bit,
Yes.
right? To handle that situation. And honestly, that's how I've felt here being a part of the teacher project team as well, right? We have a full team of coaches here, and my daughter was sick last week, and I'm like, I can't be there. I got to take care of my sick baby. Amazing. Other team members are going to run those things because they've been trained appropriately. They can operate independently. And it's amazing to have that trust and to have that team and to know, hey, they got my back. And that's what you're building. That's what you have, started. And it's amazing that other people are coming onto your team. And we see this all the time that those people are just so grateful to have that opportunity to work in a place where they are valued and they have that creative freedom to be able to handle those things. And we can empower them, to grow in within the limitations of the business and that sort of thing, which is really really cool. So yeah, how does that feel, being that team leader and being able to coordinate and cast vision of where you
Well,
guys?
I'm starting to realize that actually, being a team leader is actually what I prefer.
Yeah.
So I used to be very worried about everything that might go wrong. While a team leader, I thought, all those hard conversations that I might have to have with people. What if I choose my teammate wrong? What if, what if, what if? And I used to only look at all the possibilities where it would go wrong, where actually I'm leaving the opposite. So that's something that is really important. Like sometimes you're just visualizing one side of the truth, like the truth that you're anticipating that is going to go wrong. But actually there's a world of possibilities out there.
Yeah.
And that's really what happened to me. Like I love my team. Like, they're all becoming friends now. And I mean, the first person that I hired, I didn't even pay her at first. Like, she just came because she wanted to help and she was happy to be part of the project. And I paid her as soon as I could. But yeah, she was just here because she was interested in the vision. And it's just mind blowing. Like, it's
Yeah.
just amazing.
People want
And
to have an
I,
impact. They
yeah, she
want to be
wanted
a
to have an
part of something
impact.
huge.
Exactly. She saw the importance of what I was doing. She saw how it could work, how it could change the game, and she just wanted to be a part of it. So she jumped, no string attached, just yeah, just jumped in, and I know I can trust her 100%,
Yeah.
and that just changes everything. It's brilliant. I love
Changes
it.
everything. Guys, drop a one in the chat if you guys are finding some value from this conversation because again, wherever you are in the journey, I don't care if you've never, tutored a student or maybe you got a handful of one-on-ones or maybe you got more than that. And you're like, God, I want to go ahead and do this, right? I want to learn marketing and learn sales and learn how to run these group classes and maybe take that next step up like Florian has and maybe start hiring one or two people and see this thing go from a solo, entrepreneurship to man, I got some people in my corner, which is great. James is on board, Leslie is on board. That's awesome, guys. Feel free because we're gonna save a little bit of time here at the end. And I want to make sure that we get, between Florian and myself, we want to answer all of your guys' questions like we were answering before. Like if there's blocks, if there is like chains holding you down and saying, no, 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 there's no way this can work. Like let us know. Ask those questions. We'll do kind of a rapid fire type thing here in a little bit, but drop those questions in there now so that we have them and we can go ahead and use our time here effectively. And I just want all of you guys to know we are so thankful that you guys could jump on and really look forward to, potentially meeting you guys in the future, whether that is in one of our programs or at a live event. We just love interacting with you guys. And I think the teacher project for me has always been about hope. It's always been
Mm.
about, hey, when you think that there's no path forward or you feel like you're stuck, the teacher project was that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel or breaking through that darkness that was like, no, there's another way and there's other people that think the same way as you and are as passionate about teaching as you. So we would just love to go ahead and be able to connect with you guys and help you guys find that path forward. So feel free, guys, check out that link. We'd love to, have you sit down with one of our team members. We can get you the information that you need. But before we do any rapid fire questions here, so again, guys, drop those in the chat. Florian, I just want to kick it back to you, because, as I was reading the form that you sent back into us, you're like, yeah, I had my first 5K month. I've hired, a few people onto my team. I'm starting to get my time back. I've generated over 80K, over this couple year period, which is great. And I see that even being just the tip of the iceberg for you and what you're creating within your business. But like for the people that are on here right now or catching the replay, is there maybe like one or two gold nuggets or things that you've learned throughout this process that you're like, man, I really wish I had known that 2 years ago because that would have helped me even more. And, that would be the advice that I'd share with somebody new. One or two kind of things that stand out for you in this process?
Yes, I think the one thing that I didn't do at the beginning and I started to do, and that's when it worked, is to keep at it. Like the only way to not get where you want to be is to quit. Like if you don't quit, if you just put one after another, one step at a time, you're going to get there. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Mhm.
And I remember being very jealous of all these people who could do it straight from the beginning because they had the right mindset for it or whatever. But maybe
Yeah,
I needed all this time to actually get the right mindset. Maybe all this time for me was actually what I needed to be in the right mindset to do whatever I need to do now. And I think
that's powerful. What came to mind for me was there was this quote. I remember reading it, God, when I first started my tutoring business back in 2017, and it was, the master has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. And that really stuck with me because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to do one more rep, one more rep. Oh, didn't close that sale. One more rep, right? And I think that that's the key to realize that, like, as human beings, our expectation is like, well, I better close the sale on the second one, otherwise I'm just not good at this. And it's like, no, maybe it's going to take 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, 40 times. I don't care, but once you hit, now it changes everything. And now
Yeah,
you have that confidence to say, all right, game on. If I can do one, I can do two. If I can do two, I can do
yeah,
five. If I can do five, I can do
exactly.
10. And if I can do 10, I can do 100 plus, right? And that's where it is, guys. It gets so exciting. It gets so addictive to realize that you have complete control over your life and your income and your time and your calendar, and what you want in your life is completely within your control. It just comes down to the choices that we
Yes,
make at
and
the day.
I think failing is, I mean, I know it sounds very cliche, but failing is opportunity. Like every time you fail, you get to learn something new. I think at the end of the day, it's even more interesting to fail than to succeed, because if I succeed the first time, then I don't learn all the things that could have gone wrong.
Yep.
And and I think
Love that.
I read somewhere, if you're a tennis fan, Federer, who's among the biggest players in the world, he actually missed 45% of his goals, which sounds like a lot. And
Yeah.
and is still, in the first percent of the top tennis players in the world. That means you can fail 45% and still
Yep.
get to where you want to be. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. It really is interesting, like what we look at as success, right? Oh,
Yeah.
success for us being hitting 100% of the time. It's like, no, that's not it at all. And like, as you work through our program, we start to let you guys know, well, what are those success metrics, right? That you can expect to hit. And so that
Hmm.
gives you guys just those logistics to kind of look at and say, yeah, I'm like right on track. No worries. Or I got to make a little bit of a tweak here and there. So, guys, feel free, drop any questions in there. We'd love to help you out here in the last 5, 10 minutes that we have together. Anything else come up for you, Florian, as you were kind of thinking about, hey, just don't quit? I love that because I think it's so true. Anything else coming up for you that you want these guys to know?
Yes, I want everyone to know that if you're joining, I'll be very, very happy to welcome you and follow you along in your journey, because I'm not going anywhere, because I decided that I need to reach 1 million in 8 years now. So I'll be there until I've reached a million, and I will, because that's my goal.
That's the first thing, right? Is to be able to kind of set that stake in the ground
Oh
and
yeah,
say, yes,
yeah.
this is what I want to achieve. Okay, let's work backwards. Let's reverse engineer. How do we
Hmm.
get there?
Yeah,
Right? How
that's
many
possible.
students do we need? How many leads do we have to reach out to? How many calls do we have to book? Right? And that's what our
Yes.
curriculum and our coaching team starts to give you, that concrete path moving forward. I love that. I love that. So yeah, set those goals, create that vision, guys. Don't quit. I think those two things are just so
Yeah.
powerful. Sunday came in and she asked, this is great. My question is, what is the first step to take in getting my students? So Sunday, you'll have to let us know, if you are working in the classroom or if you have students currently. Sounds like the way that she's worded it right now, Florian, is that maybe she hasn't quite started yet. She's looking to maybe get her first
Mhm.
students. What comes up for you as you kind of read that question? What would you tell
Well,
Sun?
the first thing that you need to do Sunday is to decide exactly what you want to teach and to who you want to teach it. I think that's an analogy that Elliot used when I came on board, which is the Uber analogy. And you can't know your like if you know your destination but you don't put your starting point, you don't have a path. So you can't know your second step and your third step and whatever until you exactly know where you're at the moment and what you want to teach to who. I think that's the first step you need to, clarify in your mind. And when I say what you want to teach, I'm not just saying I want to teach French to people who don't speak French. You want to be very precise. Like for example, I'm teaching French with coaching to adults who want to move into France. That's fairly specific. And it sounds like it's too specific. But when you're trying to teach to too many people, you teach to nobody at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, when there's another quote, if you focus on everything, you're focusing on nothing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And Florian, to Sunday's question, she's so right. Most people come into our programs and they're like, "Well, I want to teach math." And we're like, "Okay, math is a subject, but we got to get very specific to say, well, are we teaching math to fourth and fifth graders, to ninth and 10th graders,
Yeah.
to high school students that are taking the ACT, to students that are learning how to read, right? What is that age level? Usually we're looking for two grade levels, right? Because when you start pushing out your marketing out into the world, you want somebody to see your advertising or to see your marketing and say, that is exactly me. That is my situation. That is my student in a nutshell. Because that ad struck a chord with that person. If you just say, I teach math, well, half the people are going to scroll by it because they didn't feel like they were zeroed out. That marketing wasn't designed for them, right? If we can go ahead and have that emotional response in somebody,
Mhm.
that's going to be a key thing. And so I think Florian's spot on Sunday. Being able to go ahead and figure out your main offer is going to directly make things so much easier when you get into the actual marketing part because you're very, very clear. You have a North Star of what I want and who I'm going to go ahead and go after. And so that's going to be key. The mindset piece beforehand is going to be even more crucial to realize, okay, I could try to figure this all out on my own, but it could take me a decade. Could I do it? Yeah. If I want to do it quicker, if I want to do it faster, guys, learn from folks that have already been there, learn from the curriculums, the coaching. That's why, people jump into our programs because they want to get from point A to point B way faster. Because we don't have all that time to go ahead and figure it out on our own. We might as well learn from people that have already done it and been successful with it. So, Sunday, hopefully that answered your question. Leslie says, I'm reflecting on this. The specificity of passion makes so much sense. Yeah.
Well, actually, Leslie, I think talking about passion is interesting because I think when you choose what you're going to teach and to who you're going to teach it, you want to take something that, of course, that is going to sell well, but you want to pick something that you actually like teaching
Yeah.
because you're going to talk about it and create things around it for quite a long time. So pick something right now that makes you vibrate because that's important.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. And I apologize, Leslie. I was reading the first part of your question. I was trying to figure out where you were going with that. But as soon as you said for what you're selling, it connected the dots fully for me. When people are picking their signature tutoring offer, like we were just talking about, you're always looking for something that you're passionate about, right? Because like Florian just said, you don't want to be talking about something that just makes you die inside, right? You got to be excited about what you're teaching because that comes off in your facial expressions, your body language, your voice tonality as you're speaking about it. Because again, excitement sells. That's attractive, right? But number two, you got to find something with a problem as well,
Mhm.
right? There's some things that are people are very, very passionate about, but whether or not there's a market out there that doesn't have to be created, there's already people having a problem out there. We want to find those spaces. And again, we could go ahead and do different tests to find that, but those are the two things you need: passion and a problem to solve, right? For Florian, she's trying to go ahead and say, yep, I want to go ahead and help those adults learn French so that they can go ahead and assimilate into the French culture, right? There's a problem there, there's a pain point there. I work with high school students that want to go ahead and get great ACT scores to be able to get into college, to get scholarships. There's a pain point there. People will pay for that. So that's something to kind of go ahead and look at as well. Sabia says, I missed today's session only, joined at 2:45. Is it possible to read for the recording? Yeah, we do go ahead, Sabia. We do kind of send those out via our marketing team. So we'll go ahead and make sure that somebody reaches out. But just so that you're able to go ahead and get access to it. Like I said, guys, I dropped the link to connect with one of our team members here at the Teacher Project. If you guys have been vibing with this and just feeling connected to Florian's story and what we've been talking about, guys, I just highly encourage you guys, click that
Mhm.
link and chat with us. We have made big changes within the program. We've completely revamped our entire curriculum. It is the best curriculum we've ever built fully as a success team. So simple, so easy, so clear. We're just super proud of that. And we've kind of implemented just an amazing new what we call our pod system that allows you guys to be with others in small group settings to allow you to go ahead and make even quicker movement and get better traction and get your ads launched faster, get your first students quicker, get your groups up and running, even at an accelerated rate. So we've made so many great improvements, and honestly, there's no better time to kind of jump in here at the Teacher Project. We got another question here, Florian. Florian, what was the toughest thing for you? What did you have to do like 10 times? No pressure, just curious. I think that's a great question. Leslie, what was that thing for you, Florian, that you kind of just were like, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, just kept pushing forward?
Sales goals,
What was it?
100%. It was selling, doing sales goals.
Sales call.
I remember the first call that someone booked, and I was like, great, someone booked a call. I hope they're not going to join. Like, I really hope, please, please, please don't join. Because I was just so not confident about it. And then they didn't. I was a little bit happy and a little bit disappointed. And then someone else, booked a call and then joined, and I failed miserably. And the more people booked, and just came to the call or didn't come to the call, and dealing with this and just getting a bit better at this and recording myself and listening to the recording and thinking, oh my God. I remember sending one of my call to our sales coach, Rob, and he looked at it and he said, Flo, you're like this all the time. So basically, every time I was talking about my product, I was, very happy and proud. And when I was about to talk about the price, I would literally, like physically, just go like this. So it was a journey to go from I hope they're not going to join the call to, oh great, I have a sales call now. Let's see what I can make, from this. And I don't even, it's going to be very paradoxal. I don't know if that's the word in English, but I don't even join sales call thinking I'm going to close anymore. I'm joining sales call thinking I'm going to try and coach this person. And whatever happened in this call, I have helped them, whether it's by joining my course or not joining my course. At the end of the day, I have learned and they have grown, and
Mhm.
that's all I want to do.
That's the one word, Leslie, is detachment, right? To be able to show up with a heart stance of helping someone, but not being attached to making the
Yeah.
sale, right? When we first get started, we're so eager to earn money that we're like desperate. And honestly, people you talk to, they feel desperation. It scares people off and repels them so quick. And that's something that we just have to go ahead and work on. That's a mindset issue. And we also have to go ahead and realize, just like Florian was talking about, getting closed off, kind of feeling guilty about asking for money or an exchange of value. These are things that we talk with clients about all the time because we got to get to the root of that issue. Because guess what? You have something amazing to provide to the world. And that exchange of monetary value for the value of your course, that's right. That is something that is desperately needed in our society right now. But if we're closed off to it, guess what? The person we're talking to is going to be closed off to it as well. And so we're a mirror. We mirror, what's coming back to us. So Leslie said, yes, super useful for us teachers to think of sales as coaching. Yes, I think I'm great at selling myself until it comes to the money. Honestly, Leslie, we've all been there. And that's really the power of getting mentorship and coaching and guidance,
Um,
because you're not off by miles, you're off by inches, right? And it just comes down to getting to the heart of that belief. Belief influences action, action creates opportunity, opportunity creates abundance. So we got to go back to that belief part, not just about the
yeah.
action. We got to figure out the belief and sort
Mhm.
it from there. So, guys, I hope you guys have found so much value and just had a great time hanging out with Florian and myself. Florian, thank you so much for jumping on here
My
as
pleasure.
well. I'll give you the mic here. Any last minute thoughts here to share with the group before we jump off today?
Yes, I think I was reading Leslie's comment about, great at selling herself until it comes to the money. Yes, I think that is so true. Like trying to, not wanting to sell something for money. But I think at the end of the day, you need to remember that if you're not asking them for money, you're doing them a disservice. I'm going to explain myself here. Because if have you ever been to like a short training or something that is free and you actually never log in there because your brain goes to free equals rubbish. So if you actually get them to pay for something, it shows there's value on it. And that's a shift that I had to go through. And I think you might want to think on as well. And it
Yeah.
gives them commitment. Yes.
Absolutely. Super, super powerful. So, Florian, thank you for just, I know
Thank
this is
you.
late for you. I appreciate you so much jumping in here. And again, James, Jean Paul, Leonard, Leslie, who else do we have on here? Nula, Sabia, Sunday. We're just so glad that you guys could spend this time with us. We appreciate you guys so much. Unfortunately, I do have to kind of jump on because I have a call here that I have to run as well for my stuff. But guys, like I said, I'll just drop that link one more time in here in the chat. Would love to go ahead and chat with you guys. Again, one of our team members can go ahead and fill you guys in. I always say, facts are your friends, right? It's the unknown that's the
Mhm.
scariest part of all this. But if this is something that's on your heart and you're feeling like, man, I want to make, the end of this year and 2026, like the year that I start moving and, creating something new, guys, we're here for you. We want you to know we have your
Mhm.
backs, and go ahead, click that link. We would love to chat with you guys. So show some love to Florian in the chat. Florian, thank you so much for jumping on here. We're so incredibly proud of you, not just myself, but the entire Teacher Project team, watching what you've been able to do, the barriers and the challenges you've been able to overcome, and watching you hit that 5K month and being able to go ahead, hire those folks, and seeing those posts. They inspire so many people here at the Teacher Project. So thank you so much for everything that you do for this team and for this community. And can't wait to see what you do here in the back half of 2025. Okay.
Thank you, Cal. Thank
All
you.
right. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Florian, have a great evening, and we will talk to you guys soon.